live below your means. Set aside 20%. Have some money in a savings account. Start being specific. Start setting a number, a goal of I want to have X amount of dollars. You need to have reserves. Thank y'all for joining the Twincast. It's the podcast where business and faith are our foundation and a good laugh is always on the house. We're identical twin sisters navigating the real estate world one deal at a time. The Twincast starts now. I'm Cherie, your go-to lender helping you with all things finance. And I'm Nicole, your favorite realtor helping you find the perfect place to call home. And if you're just now joining us, here's a few things that you should know. One, we're top 1% in our field. We have over a decade of experience in our field. And with our unique twin dynamic, we offer our clients an undeniable edge. This translates to huge monetary savings through stronger negotiations and smarter financing strategies. Yes. So today, Cherie's in the hot seat, and we're going to be talking about 4 habits every teen should learn before the age of 18. I mean, this is where you shine because you, Cherie, are great at loans and finances and black and white. So, and you are also a parent of one of my favorite nieces, Elena, who is, how old is she? 18, 19? No, she's 20. She will always be my baby. So yeah, exactly. At the age of 20. So she's 20, but you have navigated through this process already, starting with Elena. So these are things that they should know as well. Teenagers should know. Teenagers, parents of teens, and as we kind of prepare for that age, I think that's what that I want to speak to those parents that are getting ready to move their kids, whether that's to college or just kind of preparing them for adulthood. It's important. And a lot of people out there, they just don't know what to do. They're kind of, I wasn't taught. My parents didn't teach me. I'm not really sure. I eventually got it started. I eventually did what I was supposed to do. But what I didn't learn until age 25. They didn't teach me this in high school. So I think this is a really good topic. And you broke it down to about 4 habits that really narrow this down. Yeah, I think it's a good starting point and it's not overwhelming. It's things that you can do immediately. You can start putting into place so that your kids, babies that are now transitioning into adulthood, you can set them up for success because that's what we want for our kids to be better than us, in every aspect. I think every parent wants to see their child be more successful than they are and learn faster, sooner, and that's what we're gonna talk about. Yes, I was speaking about this to another one of my clients, and we're just kind of bringing up their child who's actually graduating this year. And I was just saying, hey, we weren't taught this, and we want our kids to be better than we were. So this really is driving home that because when we learned, it took us a little bit longer, and our parents were better than their parents, and so on and so forth. So we do continue to grow, and we're just going to try to navigate that a little bit shorter. So let's jump into it. Okay. Step 1, understand how credit works. Well, if they could understand that when you sign up for an obligation, and to me, credit is simply telling somebody it's your promise to pay. I'm going to pay you what I told you, whatever that amount is, I'm going to pay it, and I'm going to have a deadline of when I'm going to pay that. And it's really telling the truth. I mean, are you going to borrow this money and pay me back at a specific amount on a specific date, and also the monthly obligation to that? And so if you can tell your child, it's just credit is just how honest are you? I really believe that because if you are going to sign up for an obligation, you want to make sure that you are able to make that monthly obligation and that you can fulfill it, whatever that, whether it's 6 months, it's a year, it's 5 years, or it's 30 years. But if you can start that process early and you can give them a responsibility and you can give them a debt and say, listen, I'm going to allow you to borrow X amount of dollars and I need you to pay me X amount of dollars every month. And in this 12-month time period, it will be completed. That's as simple as it gets. I'm making the payments every month and I'm going to pay this amount. And that's really understanding your credit is telling somebody I'm going to pay you and fulfilling that obligation. I mean, that sounds simple enough. Just really, like you said, signing up for something and doing what you said you're going to do. Simply doing what you say you're going to do. And, if you can do that, that will give them a head start.
Hmm.
Like I said, if you can do that in the household and kind of prepare them for that, it will say later on, we're going to translate that into an actual credit card and into an actual installment loan. But that gives you the control of kind of explaining to them and giving them a real life example in the household, aside from actually going out and getting the credit card or the installment loan. So it's a pre-game. It's a pre-game, okay? Also, what I would say as the parent, I would put them on my credit
Existing
card.
credit card.
I would add them to my credit card as an authorized user. Simple process, but what it does is it allows them to piggyback off of your credit. So let's say you have a credit card that you've had for 15 years and you've paid that credit card on time. You have a low debt, you have a low balance on the credit card. You can just say, I'm going to add Elena to my credit card, and
Does
she
that mean they get access to the credit card?
no, they will not get access to the credit card. That's a
That's good.
common question, Nicole. So do not give them.
Because I want you to add me to your credit card.
Yes, I sure you do. But we are not going to do it, and do not.
Because I'm over the age of 18.
Yes, you are. You are, but it is very helpful for that young adult to
Hmm.
get a little bit of a head start. And so they get a piggyback off those years that you've had the credit card in good standing. So, Elena, when I signed her up at 18, she got, received 20 years of good payment history, and her immediately reflected a credit score. I tell them now, after I've added you to that credit card, then you hold them responsible and say, now let's go start a Credit Karma account or something that monitors their credit, that they can also start to see a number. They can start seeing, oh, I have a 700 credit score. Now it's your job to maintain that 700 credit score,
Hmm.
because mom actually earned the 700 credit score because it's a reflection of my credit and not yours. So mom, people know mom pays her bill on time, pays her bills on time. And so now we need to, for Elena to establish that same credit profile. So that's when they will then, after they start that credit profile, you get that 700 credit score, you see it on Credit Karma. Let's go get a credit card through a bank or an installment loan through a bank. But those things may take a little bit of time because you have to establish some kind of job and things like that. So we'll get to that, but I would say immediately add them to that credit card as an authorized user, and explain to them what credit means, the ability to pay people and keep good on those promises.
Now, do they need to continue? Do they need to have three or four credit cards, or would you suggest, one or two? And are there a special, company that you would really recommend them to start at?
I would say that ideally we want two credit cards and installment loan, but as a young adult, they may not be able to get access to all of that immediately. So if you can get one credit card, or going to a bank and getting a credit builder loan, that's an installment loan. Usually you pay money down to get that $500 or so to start the installment loan. So those would be the first steps. Would get added as an authorized user, go to your local credit union, get the secured credit card or a credit builder loan, do those types of things. Those are, and also establishing the Credit Karma account. Those are things that I would immediately start doing. I would not focus on getting multiple lines because, like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because they're just now starting employment, being, showing income and things like that. So they may not be able to get all those things. One thing at
Slow
a
and
time.
steady.
That's it.
Okay. Step two, live below your means.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. Very important. I mean, it's a lifelong principle that you will need to live within your means, because our society has really taught us the opposite of to overindulge, to
Bigger is better.
bigger is better, keep up with the Joneses, live bigger and better than everybody. But if we can remember that actually it's just overwhelming when you put yourself in that position. If you put yourself in that position, life is just, it's no fun. It's really no fun to have that amount of stress, those obligations, those promises to pay people. You are unable to fulfill those obligations, and it really just hurts you mentally, financially, and all the things. So what I would say is teach them to set aside money from their paycheck. So if you can say you understand how much money they're going to get paid, you need to, as the parent, say, okay, let's understand your pay. I'm getting paid $15 an hour because I'm working at Chick-fil-A. Okay, that's great. How many hours a week are we going to be working?
How much is your car payment?
You have to break it all down, but for the initial, for the a step or a habit number two is really just understanding that you need to live below your means. If you get a paycheck, and when you get your paycheck, I'm not running out and spending every dime I have. That is not going to work.
You need to
That
set aside some money.
I would say at least 20% of whatever you make. And if your hour, it's so funny because you really have to get specific for not only for adults, but especially our younger adults because we're setting them up for the future. So what we start now will be what they do for a lifetime or could be for a lifetime or will produce roadblocks or not, you know. So we really want to just tell them live below your means, 20%, set aside 20%, have some money in a savings account, start being specific, start setting a number, a goal of I want to have X amount of dollars. I need to have money in my bank for a flat tire. I need to have money just in case my electric bill is a little bit more than I planned. So you need to have reserves. And if you can just get them to understand living below their means is important, that will be something that they will thank you for later. I promise you.
Okay. Now, step three, know the difference between assets versus liability.
Okay. Assets versus liabilities. I think the easiest way to explain that is because everybody, as soon as, especially young adults, you know, we spend a lot of time in our cars, you know, and so I mean, they're just getting their driver's license, they're ready to get the biggest, best car out there, and so a car, when you buy a car right off the lot, you drive it off, and it's already starting to lose money. It's depreciating. So if we understand that a liability it depreciates, right? So an asset appreciates. So real estate over time it goes up in value. And never have you ever, you know, well, I say never have you, very rarely do you see a car give more value than what you paid for it. It's
Hmm.
usually losing value. I mean, every year it loses, right? And
Hmm.
so in a home, that's the opposite. It appreciates over time. You grow, and that's why we say it's the best money wealth building tool that you have is real estate. And so those those things matter and you need to kind of understand the difference between an asset and a liability. And I wrote down assets pay you and liabilities cost you.
Hmm.
So if you can
So the children are really a liability. They cost you.
they definitely do. They definitely children do. So if you can kind of explain that to them and whatever real world example that you want to give to them that will speak to your child will be fine. But explain it to them so that they will understand that there is definitely a difference between the two, and they will need to be able to understand that as they go through life. Go through or grow through
Both.
life, you know,
Hmm.
whichever one. And so those are important. That's an important concept to understand.
Well, I think it's also important as we're talking more to young adults here recently. I think it's important for them to also understand and know as parents, they can buy a home at 20 years old. They don't have to be 20, 35 or 45 or anything like that. They can be young adults and purchase properties. It doesn't have to be their forever home. It's an investment property that they can purchase where they're not throwing away their money because I see so many young adults, they're making money. They just don't know what to do with it. So
Right.
put it towards an investment that's going to grow, and they can use that money for their future.
Definitely, you can use it for your future. It's just the basic fundamental concepts that we're trying to drive home here for that younger generation, so that they can, you know, put money in the bank. They can set money aside. They can understand that their word, that their promise to pay people is
It means
important.
something.
It means everything.
Yeah.
It means everything. And so those are some of the keys here.
Okay. Step four, understand taxes and paychecks.
Okay, so I would say this is gross versus net home bring home money. So when we say you get paid $15 an hour, for example, right? You're going to multiply that times 40 hours a week or however many hours you're going to work. And so you come up with this number, right? And let's just say it comes up to $2,000 a month, right? Well, you have to set aside some money for taxes. And a lot of times people don't understand that. So they're operating with all that $2,000 that they have. But really, when Uncle Sam takes his portion out of it, you don't have 2,000. So they're thinking, I have this extra money to go pay, my light bill, or I can, my entertainment money and things like that. That money was taken before it even made your bank account, so if you can just do 10%, you can think, if I have a $2,000 paycheck, 200 of that is going to go to Uncle Sam. And so you need to take that out of the equation. Just off the top, take it out of the equation. And now I'm actually operating with $1,800 a month versus 2,000. So you start subtracting and making your budget around what am I actually putting in my bank? What is the net? What money gets deposited into the bank account? And that's when I start subtracting those liabilities,
Mm.
such as you're going to have electricity, you're going to have rent, you're going to have all those expenses that are going to come out. And then that's how your budget needs to be explained, and that's how you need to start talking to your young adult is let's talk about gross versus net, and especially when they're talking about their paychecks, breaking it down for them so that they understand there's going to be a difference between the two and what you actually have to work with.
Yeah, I think it's important that as adults now, we are able to provide this information to our younger adults and to our parents, where we're saying, hey, again, this is not something that we were taught in high school. This was not something that we were made aware of. And now lessons learned and mistakes made,
Right.
but we are in a better position and able to. Facilitate some growth on the other end, on the younger adults and parents, and they can tell their kids and so on and so forth. So this can start now at 18, maybe a little bit sooner, like you were
For
saying,
sure.
if you have them keep their word, whether it's like go clean your room and just the little things, they translate to bigger things along the road. So keeping that in mind
Yes, I say that truth telling that
and
begins.
holding them accountable.
Yeah. Holding them accountable,
Yeah.
really. I mean, because when you don't pay people on time, there's consequences for those things, and your credit will reflect that, So if you're honest about paying people and not overextending yourself, and so, it just really is going to go back to fundamentals. And so I think that our audience can begin to work on their young adults and start providing an education to them so they can be successful and they can not stress out and they cannot become overwhelmed and they don't have to go through the life experiences where, you have bad credit and have to rebuild it and have to start from ground zero and have to wait 6 months, years, and things to rebuild it. And so if you can teach your young adults to, one, tell the truth. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Two, you can tell them to live below their means, right?
You don't
Explain,
have to go to Starbucks every day,
yeah,
you
have
know.
some self-control.
You
It's a
cook your own tuna fish,
go your own tuna fish.
Make your own tuna fish sandwich,
Yes, right.
You can
Make your
make
own tuna
you
fish.
can
Yes.
make your own grilled cheese. You don't have to go to Starbucks and get the four cheese grilled cheese sandwich. You don't have to do
You
that.
do not
So
have to do it.
there are ways around this saving money, preparing, things like that, keeping your word. And that's really what we wanted to drive home to you, that you don't have to wait until you're 25. We can start now with being a young adult, having your young adult living in your home. You can help them now prepare for the future.
Yeah, success. We can help them be successful, productive members of society. That's what we want. We want them all to be productive and successful. So this is our topic today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you loved
Love
today,
today's episode. Like, subscribe, or share.
and if you'd like to be on our show, send us a DM. And until next time, keep dreaming big, planning smart, and remember, with the right team, you hold the keys.